I'm here with the well-known legend in the scene, peltsman. How we doing, bro?
What's happening? Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. So let's
Good
just
stuff.
jump straight into it. Obviously, recently you done a diss track on Swarms, but before we speak about that, your
Yeah.
boxing record, you want to know. You
Yep.
had one fight, you did win. How did you feel leading up to that fight? How did you mentally prepare?
I think it was difficult. Like coming into your first fight, it's not always the easiest thing to do. Like you put the training in, but you never know how you're going to perform in the ring. So like in sparring the week before, like a few weeks prior to it, like I was acting a bit nervous and I was thinking, oh, like what's this going to be like for me when it comes to the real thing? But 2 weeks up until the fight, I started sparring really well, and that at that point I was confident. I knew when I was going in that ring that I was going to put on a performance, and yeah, I ended up going in there and I finished him with in the second round.
Yeah, definitely. How was the nerves for your first fight? I know a lot of people don't feel nervous up and coming to the fight, but when they actually step in there, it's through the roof. So how did you deal with that?
I think it was a different situation for me because it actually flipped. Like leading up to the fight, I was nervous because I didn't know what was going to
Oh,
happen. The guy that I was fighting, I didn't know anything about him, so that I had no information on him. Didn't know how he fought. He was at a pretty good gym as well. Obviously, it was an unlicensed fight, and I think up until the day of the fight, I was quite nervous. But when I actually got to the day of the fight, for some reason, my nerves calmed. I was like, right, this is it. This is judgment day. I've got to go in there and do the business. And especially when I found myself walking up to the ring and the music started playing, I just felt so good. Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
crowd was
just
quite
settled
big as
in.
well. There was like a crowd of like over 500 people because it's quite a renowned event that I fought on in Kent. There was quite a lot of people there. But as soon as I stepped in that ring, all my nerves went for some reason, and I was like, right, it's game time. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. And since then, how's training been? Because coming off a win, was there anything to take off from that win? Because it was the second round.
I think the funny thing is, me and my coach were actually practicing certain types of moves for the fight. So he was trying to teach me about like leaning into my hook and my uppercut because he said I had quite a strong uppercut. So we'd been working on that like 2 weeks prior to it. And in the fight, he was shouting at me, whip it up, whip it up, whip it up. And I was like, right. And I was trying to like find out the right time to do it. And there was the opportunity that I missed. And he came forward, he tried to swing for me. I stepped back and then I saw the opportunity again. I just went bang with the uppercut and then went over the top with the hook, like what we practiced in training. So that actually really worked in my fight. Um, and then since then, we've just been really honing on the technical side of stuff. You know, getting me really technical, getting me up to scratch, making sure that my fitness is going to be good for when I have my next fight.
Yeah, of course. And since then, you've signed to a great agency, Colossal Combat. They've
Yeah.
signed fighters like Keith Burke. What do you think of them as an agency, and how come you've actually signed with them?
Um, well, originally what happened was I was in talks with two different companies. So I was in talks with Colossal, and then I was in talks with somebody else who's actually the manager of Pineda. So I had gone with him on a handshake, and we said we were going to like organise some fights together. He's a great guy, Pineda's manager, but just like a bit of time went past, and he's a very busy man. So I thought maybe it was time for me to go with a different promotions company. So I started getting in touch with Colossal again and said, "Look, I'm going to become a free agent again. What do you think about us working together?" And they said, "Yeah, let's do it." They felt that I could get on Misfits if I did enough promotion, and maybe we got a couple fights in between. So I signed with them because I feel like they've got a great track record. As you said, they've got people that have fought on Misfits before. They've had OJ Rose on their books, who's done so well in Misfits. They've had Fangs on there. They've now got Kells. There's
Yeah,
multiple
yeah.
people on there. So I thought, you know what? Let's sign with these guys. I feel like we can work together really well and make something happen.
Yeah, definitely. And mentioning Misfits, you recently put a diss out for Swarms. It's a
Yeah,
great song. I listened to it all. What
thanks,
was the
man.
reasoning behind that, and why did you actually want to send for someone like Swarms? I know he's a rapper like yourself.
Um, I think the thing behind it was I got into this because I wanted to fight a rapper on Misfits. Like my main goal was to fight a UK or USA rapper. So when I went into it, I was looking at everybody that was in the scene, and I had conversations with people about who they think I should diss. Now, I was training with like Fox the G and Salt Pappy and all of them, and I said to them like, "What do you think if I diss Swarms?" And they was like fully behind it. They was like, "You should do it. Like it'd be a cool idea." Right? They're all cool with Swarms anyway, but obviously this is the game. Sometimes you got to do things that lead you to opportunity. So I was like, I'll do it. I wanted them to be in the video actually, but I'll get onto that later. But so Swarms for me, I feel like he's an actual good fighter. Like I just don't think we have seen enough of him yet. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he's got a killer instinct. I believe in his fights. KSI was his first fight. KSI is a tough opponent for anybody, and he went in there on little training. He gets beat, goes in against Ryan Taylor. That was a lucky fight as well. Like one punch ended it somehow. Ryan messed his eye up. It could have gone longer. And then the third fight was against Deji, who is someone who's also a seasoned guy in the influencer scene now, been in it many, many years. And then you start to look at that track record and you think to yourself, like, this guy's fighting tough opponents. I think the only one for me that was a bit of a mistake for him taking was Ed Matthews, because Ed Matthews was always going to go in there and try and finish it in one round. And I just think he got caught cold. And then, his last performance against Pineda, he lasted in the ring with Pineda. Pineda's a professional, so it was a good performance. So I thought I didn't want to go for anybody that was trash. I actually believe Swarms is good, so I thought, right, who will be the perfect opponent? And Swarms, I feel would be. So I thought, how am I going to get at him? I've got to do a diss track.
yeah, yeah.
So we just got into the diss track, man. Like, just did it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say he's really had a fair fight. As you mentioned, he had Deji, he had Pineda, he had all these hard opponents, and he's just started actually, learning boxing. So with you, do you think you and Swords would be a 50-50 fight?
Uh, I would say 60-40 to me, purely based off of the fact, like, not many people have seen my footage. I know that in the scene, and I've only had the one fight, but I believe my killer instinct, like going for the kill and the power, outweighs his technical ability. He's going to come in, he's going to be fast, he's going to be jittery, he's going to move around. But if I get him into a corner, I'm looking to finish him, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm also good at picking my punches as well. And like a lot of the people that I've sparred have said that I have underrated power. Like my power is quite a lot. Like it does, it might not look like it, but when you get punched by me, they get hurt. Even my opponent in my first fight, he said, "Look, I wanted to get out of there after the first round." He said, "I gave up after the first round." He said, he said he took too much punishment, and I'm sparring sometimes people that are heavyweights when I'm sparring, so and I'm still sort of giving damage to them. So I feel like it would be a 60-40 fight, but I'm not saying that Swarms isn't going to come in a different man. He might come in and think, right, this is my opportunity now. I really have to bring it, considering that he's had, 5 fights. He's been on the big stage. I've only had the one fight. People would probably fancy him for it, but I fancy myself.
Yeah, of course. And in sparring with people like Salt Pappy and Foxy G, how do you think you've done? I know it is only sparring, but Salt's fought someone like King Kenny, Amadeus Ferrari. So in
Yeah,
terms of skill level, do you think you're kind of on the same par, or have you still got a lot to learn?
I believe you've always got a lot to learn in boxing. You're always learning on the job. And, these people are quite ahead of me in their training. I've only been training
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
year and a half, and I do a couple sessions a week. Like, I'm not in there every day like they are. So I would say they're still levels above me. You're especially like someone like Deji. People underrate Deji so much. When we had our spar, he's a very tough opponent, and we had a great spar. Um, but I feel like I've got a long way to go, and I will always say that I've got stuff to learn. Everybody in this game, when you're an influencer, you're always learning. You're not a pro boxer. You're not even an amateur boxer. So I've got a way to go, but I'm willing to put in the grind, and I feel like I could get to those levels given enough training.
yeah, of course. And if someone on Misfits Boxing was watching this, when would be the ideal time for you to actually, accept the fight on Misfits?
To be honest with you, I wanted to fight on January card. Like I was trying to go for a backup for the Bevo and Dimitri fight, and I there was talks of me potentially being a backup for that fight. So we put ourselves forward for that, but unfortunately, with Bevo pulling out, being the bigger end of the draw, I just think that fight capitulated. That was never going to happen. So now I'm looking at March. Like I would love to fight Swarms in March. Give me these next 2 months. Put me in a camp, and I will fight Swarms in March, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be a great fight. How do you think that would go?
I think I finish him. I reckon I finish him. It depends on how many rounds they do. I'm guessing it would be 4 rounds of 3 minutes. But I think I would work him out in the first round, put the pressure on in the second, and finish him in the third.
Yeah, of course, of course. I was gonna say one person on Misfits you'd like to retire, one fighter, but I know that would definitely be Swarms.
Say that again, sorry.
I was gonna say one fighter on Misfits you'd like to retire. I'm guessing that would be Swarms for you.
It's actually a difficult one because I don't have a personal beef with Swarm. Like at the end of the day, the rap game is about being competitive. The influence the boxing game is about being competitive. I don't really have any hate for anybody. I personally wouldn't want to retire anyone because they'll be out of a job. Like I'm not this, horrible person. I'm actually a good person. But coming that ring, I've become a different person. I'm a different animal. So I guess let's just say Swarms for now because that's the person that I want to fight. I'm not trying to focus on anyone else at the moment. We're trying to get that. That's the fight I want. So come on, let's retire Swarms in March. Let's have it.
Yeah, definitely. And for the Misfits fans watching this, who may not have even saw your face or saw your last fight, we have three skills you have in boxing. What they wouldn't have saw, it could be obviously your speed, it could be your uppercut.
Yep, I believe there are many factors to me. I think I've got quite a few assets, but I would say I've got underrated power. I have a very strong jab. Like I'm able to ward people off with my jab and keep them at bay. So I think I have a very strong jab, and I would say that my uppercut is my biggest asset. I'm able to do a lot of damage to the body, and I can find my shots with the uppercut. So that would be something that I'm looking to bring to Misfits. And the last thing I say is that I have durability with fighting people that are like bigger than me all the time. I've never been knocked down in sparring. I'm not saying that I won't be. I know it's the boxing game, but as of yet, I've not been knocked down or been hurt. So, you know, let's see what happens.
Yeah, of course. And one last thing as well, a message for Swarms if he's watching this.
Swarms, take the fight. You need it. Let's be honest. You've had 5 fights now. You've only won one. Come on, man. Like I've had one fight myself. I've not even had an influencer fight. We need to get this on, bro, or at least diss me back so I can diss you again.
Everyone, thanks for watching this interview with Peltsman. It's Peltsman on Twitter. You can find all his posts and find the diss track on Swarms. We should push this fight. I know it'll be a great fight on Misfits. It makes absolute complete sense as well to happen. So everyone share out his account. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Appreciate you, bro.